Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Everything Podcast. I'm Fozzie, or Cam, and I'm here with my co-host Will, as always. How you doing today, Will?
Doing great, Cam. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic, and as you can see, we have cameras back. We have the cameras. Will, first time on camera for the actual, for real podcast. So
I did do it with you back in
that's Santa
Santa
Fe.
Fe
Yes,
one other
that's
time.
true. Yeah. So yeah, this is pretty cool, and yeah, we have cameras back. We have it all back. So I'm pretty excited about this. And I want to take a few minutes at the beginning of the podcast to just talk about our new show a little more. So we actually, I honestly thought it would have taken longer for production, but it should be out in about 2 weeks. I made a teaser trailer. You guys probably saw, and yeah, everything's it's coming along. Although the footage that was in the teaser trailer, that wasn't actual footage from the show. I just shot that for the teaser, uh, because
Absolutely.
writing isn't completely done yet. Um, but the only things we're really waiting on right now is a response from a few of our guests and just writing out a few more kinks, and then we should be up and running.
Yeah, this will be unlike anything ever done on this podcast before.
Agreed.
Just to do a little tease, we've got a lot, and I don't just mean that in a small way, of things planned for this show. So in 2 weeks, get ready because this is going to be unlike anything on this podcast before.
Yeah, I'm excited, and I think the length will be well. I know the length of this will be longer than usual because we have a lot of things to fit in. Yeah, we have quite a few things to fit in, so we'll probably end up having it like a 30-minute runtime, which will be fantastic. Um, but yeah, as it gets closer to release, we'll keep you guys posted. I might post a few YouTube shorts about it on our shorts channel, so just definitely subscribe to our shorts channel to stay updated. And when obviously as it gets super close to release, I'll make a post on this channel because we have a bigger following here. So yeah, I think this will be the biggest event in the Everything Podcast history.
At
So
least at least so far, that's for sure.
yeah, totally. All right, so today we have a few things to talk about. Start off, more She-Hulk. I feel like this She-Hulk has been in the title of the last three podcasts we've done. Because if you guys can tell, if you guys didn't notice at least, we changed our titles to just say T.E.P. and then have what the podcast is about. So I hope you guys like that a little more because I feel like it was just kind of boring and you didn't really know what you were clicking on when it just said the episode. Um, so yeah, that was a really great idea by Mike actually.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah, so She-Hulk episode 2 thoughts. Well,
My thoughts are kind of the same as when I came out of episode one, and it's that I think this is a fun show, but far from like the best Marvel content
oh
that I've
totally.
seen. It just hasn't like hooked me in a like dramatic enough way yet, and I think this speaks to a greater issue that I'm just having this year with Marvel TV shows, and I do find this fun, and I look forward to episode 3 this weekend. I can't wait to have Daredevil and Wong in the show, but I just Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, and now She Hulk. I am seeing just a legitimate just quality drop off from the
Yeah,
likes of like WandaVision, Loki, Hawkeye, even What If.
even
So,
Falcon and Winter Soldier was better than the past few shows
oh,
we've
I
gotten.
would take that over the content that's come out on the small screen for Marvel this year for sure. But I am just getting to a point where I am just legitimately worried about the
Yeah,
amount of small screen content Marvel is coming out with because I think it's hurting the quality, and that's being shown yet again, third time this year in She Hulk Attorney at Law. And I feel like if they were putting out less shows, my reaction might be different than, yeah, fun, but far from the best Marvel content that I've ever seen.
Yeah, totally. And let's take a moment to just read some reviews.
Let's do it. I look forward to hearing
Let's
these.
start with some negative audience reviews.
Okay.
Carlos B says, really bad. Awful screenplay and direction. Waste of time. 1.5 stars.
I mean, I would give it higher than that, but I can also understand not enjoying this show. I can completely understand that, actually.
Chris S says, embarrassing show. I feel bad for the actors in these shows. 0.5 star.
Well, if you feel bad for the actors, do remember that that they are agreeing to be in it too.
It's
like
their job.
They read the script and they've agreed to be in this.
It's their job and they're making money, so I don't understand that. Let's read a semi-positive
All right.
review. 3 stars.
I think I'll lean more toward this.
3 stars from Mark F says, short episodes plus bad CGI plus meh Marvel. I feel like maybe they got a bit lazy on this one. Feels rushed. I get it.
Yeah.
But that's not enough to bring it down to 3 stars for me. I have it at 3.5 or 4.
I think I would
out of 10,
enjoy
7.5
that
out
too.
of 10.
Yeah, maybe 3.5, 3 3/4 or so out of 5 stars. So yeah, how about some more reviews?
Let's look at some critic reviews. Because
Okay.
critics have actually been quite positive. They actually is an 88 on Rotten Tomatoes for the critics.
Okay.
So critics have been saying quirky MCU series has that's not a review. That's just I was reading a review. It was it says quirky MCU series has violence, language, and drinking. That's not a review. Why is that on Rotten
That's just
Tomatoes?
telling you what the show's about.
Yeah. Yeah, so the critics have seemed to love it. I mean, I'll just look at a quick review here. Based on its first... Oh, this person obviously watched the first 4 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Based on it, because the critics and Marvel YouTubers and stuff, people who produce Marvel content and stuff, they got to see the first 4 episodes early.
Right.
So, this guy, Mark Mazoros from the News Herald, based on its first 4 installments, which Disney made available for review, the 9-episode first season of She-Hulk Attorney at Law is an easy and breezy, jokey, and jaunty journey.
I think that's a proper description, at least of what I've watched so far. Not
I respect
having
it.
Episodes 2 and 4. Yeah, I respect
it.
that too. I think that's a pretty spot on description.
Agreed,
Actually. So
yeah.
far.
Yeah, I totally agree, actually. And like I said, I'm not hating She-Hulk or anything.
I'm not hating it. I'm just saying that I've seen much better Marvel content. That's where I'm coming from on this.
And do I think it's as bad as episode 2 of Miss Marvel, maybe? No.
I would put this over Miss Marvel because I just like this. I actually find it, fun and stuff. And like Miss Marvel, I had all sorts of issues with the pace and different stuff.
Yeah. I Moon Knight, though.
Too confusing was my take. I mean, like, more like, I guess, compelling than this show, but just too confusing for me was my complaint.
Totally. And, alright. So here's my thing. I think a lot of people have been saying this. Less is more, Marvel. Less is more.
Well, like, here's my take. Like, I'm not quite there yet on the big screen because, like, even if I didn't love Thor Love and Thunder, I still liked it and thought it was a good movie. And I think that Black Panther Wakanda Forever will be amazing. And I think Guardians 3 will be, great. And I think we have a lot of great Marvel big screen content coming up. And I'm not as worried about Marvel on the big screen because even if this is like much shorter periods of time, compared to like other, movie franchises and when they'll release like their first movie and then sequels. Like the movies are like 5-6 months apart. On the small screen, I swear, Miss Marvel wraps up like early July, and then like next month, August, we're getting She-Hulk Attorney at
which
Law. So just how constant, like I'm not worried about it on the big screen yet, but on the small screen with just how constantly these shows are coming out and how now constantly they're not great. I'm worried about
yeah,
the amount of
totally
Marvel
get it.
content
Yep,
on the big screen. And I completely agree that on the small screen, not yet on the big screen, but on the small screen for Marvel, less is absolutely more.
I totally agree.
Like I've seen like last year, I guess was their official big start of what has now been dubbed the multiverse saga, and I thought that they got off to a great start, had some great shows, WandaVision, Loki, What If, Hawkeye, fantastic. And then this year, I've just seen, I'll be honest, with the exception of Multiverse of Madness, like a big drop off from the normal epic Marvel content that I'm used to. And
Yeah,
a lot of that, the main thing, has to do with these TV shows and their poor quality.
I would have to agree with you, Will. And I don't think this is a huge problem for Marvel, obviously, because they're still making billions of dollars off these movies.
And I think that
shows.
like Black Panther Wakanda Forever will be great and that they have some great movies coming up. I'm just talking on the small screen here.
Yes.
Like the big screen has nothing to do with this. This is a small screen problem.
Yeah, and so the solution, I think, is possibly find other ways to do things, because I think the biggest thing that people have been pointing out is the VFX. They look unfinished, people are saying. The big thing there is you don't have to use VFX in every shot, you know?
I'm
Just
just
find
worried
other
like
ways to shoot, you know?
I'll be honest, stuff like the VFX and the and the CGI and stuff is actually the least of my worries. What I'm worried about is the quality of the shows and that the storylines are just
yes.
not
And
compelling enough. Like that is my problem. I feel like if you have this many shows come out, that maybe you'll have some great ones, but it'll be maybe like a great show and then 5 not very good shows.
and maybe if you give the writers more time, they'll be able to produce something better. And if you'll be able to give the director, the producers and stuff, the editors more time, it would be a more cohesive. All the shows would be more cohesive and overall better in quality, you know?
Yeah, and I would be curious to see if this happened, if the Marvel quality would improve on the small screen, because I think it would. Let's say like you're Marvel, you worry about doing less shows. You don't have to worry about putting out endless amounts of content every year. Do like have a show come out in like the January to July span of the year, maybe like,
Totally.
spring, your spring release. And then in like the, July to December portion of the year, maybe have a show come out in the fall. Just come out with
And
2
maybe have
shows.
it be 9
I wouldn't
episodes.
even complain if there's 1, but have like 2 shows per year instead of like 3 and then coming out like
maybe
2
have
months
one
apart.
show, but have it maybe 12 episodes, you know?
Yeah.
At least once a week.
And with shows like Daredevil Born Again, with that being 18 episodes, like I'd be fine if like that's the only show that comes out in 2024. Because
That has me nervous.
Yeah.
That has me really nervous. And obviously I haven't finished all of Daredevil yet. So I don't exactly know what they're going to do with the story. But
well, I've been talking with my dad, Mike, who we've had on this podcast before. And something that he's worried about is that like the show is not going to be done by the creators and the people behind the original Daredevil show. So like, worried a bit about like the quality there and stuff. But I actually think that Daredevil Born Again is something to look forward to on the small screen coming up with Marvel. But just I hate to say it, but I think this less is more thing with Marvel on the small screen is absolutely true right now. And look, they've announced a lot of shows that they're going to be that are going to be coming out, so they can't really stop. But I think once this multiverse saga is over and they move on to whatever saga is after the multiverse saga, I think they have to look at doing this completely differently.
Yeah, totally. All right, so now I wanted to talk about something that's relatively important towards the MCU.
Yeah.
I've heard that they could possibly be rebooting, in a way, the MCU after the Secret Wars. What are your thoughts on that, Will?
So tell me more about like what you've been reading about that and what that's all going to be about.
So I hear that it could be like not like change characters or everything, but they could switch universes. They could do stuff like that. So I honestly,
Well, if they're gonna switch universes, I don't want like a different version of Well, maybe I would, but I wouldn't want as much of like a different version of Doctor Strange and a different version of Thor because I've fallen in love with the ones
that's
in
the
this
thing.
universe. So like, as much as I love this
I doubt
multiverse
it's gonna
thing
happen.
going on, I love how like it's still centered around like people living in this world that we are sitting in and doing this podcast in right now. So I hope
Yeah,
they don't completely switch universes because I like to think that like the main characters are people
and I
um I live in this world with. Like the Avengers that defeated Thanos. I like to think that that took place in this world, not some other world, but this world that we are doing this podcast in right now.
yeah. I don't think this is definitely gonna happen. I don't really think it is because it just really wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for Marvel.
So would they just like give up all these characters and move to other realities and stuff? Like, what's the thought process behind this? Would be my question.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I feel like I think
And this is just a rumor, so we can be fair
of course.
to that. But I mean,
If they were to do it, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, because
yeah,
like you
I
said,
mean,
we know these
yeah,
characters.
I mean, if it's great, it's great. But like, I don't want to say goodbye to all these characters till we fall in love with.
Yeah, but then again, we still have to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, well, who knows what's going to go on in the Kang Dynasty and
Oh my
Secret
goodness.
Wars? I mean, I read an article that Andrew Garfield has reportedly irked a long-term deal with
I
the
have heard that
MCU,
yet.
and I guess that could point to maybe him coming back in
Oh
Kang
boy.
Dynasty and Secret Wars. So I would just love to see that. But yeah, in the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, I think that'll be kind of the end of Marvel and the multiverse because I think the Kang Dynasty could be multiverse chaos and Secret Wars will be like the resolution that fixes all of the multiverse problems.
I think so. I think it'll be like the Infinity Saga, but shorter.
It'll be like Kang Dynasty will be like Infinity War it'll end in some heartbreak, maybe some multiverse chaos, and then Secret Wars will be like Endgame where it'll end with a resolution and there's no spells going awry and people landing in universes other than their own.
Yeah, totally. So we're actually gonna leave you for a second, and we'll be right back for part 2.